Is this working? Aha! Welcome everybody to this short live stream today, where we'll be having a look at the update 2.6. Please let me know if the microphone's too quiet. It's been quite a while since I've streamed, so in case the audio is too quiet or anything like that, please do let me know. And of course, please remember to follow the chat rules. So 2.6. Now, before we get into the actual update, I would quickly like to say a few words about what has been going on internally. So, as many of you will know, back when we back when we bought the game, we had a lot of issues with internal tools. Most of them wouldn't work. Some of them just didn't have documentation. And that, of course, made development a lot more difficult. So over the past few months, we've, however, been able to make a fair amount of progress with those internal tools. No least thanks to our colleagues over at Project Zin. So these tools, again, we've been developing our own internal tools. And what that means is that right now, we're at a stage where we can edit weapons, monsters, bosses, armor, and yes, even maps. So what you'll see today is a bit of a combination of editing and also the ability to change things and update. And so I'll get into that a little bit more, but basically what's been happening is, as some of you know, back when we released ED4, that was a few edits, and we said that we will be going step by step. And so the first step was ED4, changing a few textures, doing this and that, of course the monsters as well. And with this update, you'll see that we're taking this a step further, and on top of changing textures, we're also changing things on the map, with the eventual goal, of course, being that we will create something brand new map, brand new monsters, etc., etc. Yes, I know the screen is still on this starting soon. I know. I'll get to that in a second. And on top of that, of course, we're also always working on performance, on stability, updating packages, etc., etc. Things that the devs could tell you a lot more than I can. But what that, of course, means is that, as has been the case, we're always still sort of fighting on two fronts. On the one hand, we're of course working on updates, right? As for example with 2.6. And on the other hand, we're also working on our internal tools to be able to develop better, faster, and more efficiently. Right, so with the boring stuff out of the class, yes, thanks. I read class in the chat. With the boring stuff out of the way, and no, we're not having a new class today, I'm afraid. I'm really sorry for that. So, with the boring stuff out of the way, 2.6. So, what's coming? Let me quickly switch my screen. So, what is this? Well, we're on C. I know, a bit boring, but some of you, I imagine, have noticed that there is something on the loading screen. The loading screen has changed when you log in, right? And so what exactly is that? Well, that's what we call Outlaw Camp. Some of you may actually even have heard of it from the past. And so Outlaw Camp was actually a map that's always existed. But the problem is that it was broken. And so one benefit of having, the progression that we've made with our internal tools is that we were able to fix Outlaw Camp and, well, integrate it into 2.6. So let me just get over there and show you Outlaw Camp and exactly what it is for and what we're going to do with it. So, and you can also see that the sky is quite dark and red, very ominous. And I forgot to mention this at the start. Please remember, this is still in development, right? We're still in the middle of development. There will be bugs, there will be issues, and of course, anything you see may or may not change, right? So you will find a new portal here. And for reference, for those of you who are wondering, we're all the way up here. So it's quite a bit of a drive, but once you get here, you see this. Any second now. There you go. Okay, so this, I was a bit loud. This is Black Tide Cove. Just get over there to the beach. So what exactly is Black Tide Cove? You have no in-game sound. I'm sorry, hold on. Should be a little bit better now. So this is Black Tide Cove. Look who we have here. Hello, YouTube. So what exactly is Black Tide Cove? Well, it's a place where you can come together, right? So it's where you can come together with your friends, with your colleagues, with your guild members. You can congregate. You can stock up, so you can buy consumables like HP and MP potions, and just basically get ready for what lies ahead of you. Let's just have a bit of a look. There's lots of pirates out here, as you'd imagine, in an outlaw camp of all places. You can go up here, you can have a bit of a look outside. And if we're lucky, I don't know if it's gonna come by. Give me 1 second. All the way over here. Promise you it's worth promise you it's worth staring out into the sea. I'm not just a maniac standing here. There is something that should be coming past. Oh, while we're waiting for this. So, like I said, Outlaw Camp is a map that has always existed. Oh, there it is. There it is. And we were just able to fix it and finally put it into the game. I know some of you may recognize who that is. Just like he appeared, he disappears. Right. So, then, crew barf. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Some people got it. So, again, this is where you come together, where you prepare for the fight, and then the next bit is, I'm going to say, the meat and potatoes of the update. So once again, the map you're about to see is a map you will recognize because we did use an existing map as a base, but we heavily edited it. So as we go in here, welcome to Black Tide Cove. So, I mean, some of you may recognize it. The original map for this one was Hidden Port, and we've heavily edited it. It's not Elite Hidden. We'll get to exactly what this is. So, what exactly is this? This is going to be a sort of raid-style PvP, PvE content. Because we obviously heard your feedback, and we heard that you would like to have PvP content, and you would like to have PvE content. And so we thought about, well, what can we do? How can we even potentially combine these two things? And at this point, I want to quickly say that a while ago we had an idea, but then I kind of sort of threw it away until someone from QA actually poked me and was like, hey, we could do this, and this is how we came. Anyways, backstory. So, raid-style PvP, PvE content. What does that mean? Well, all of this is a war zone, firstly. And as you just may have noticed, I spawned in a bit of a random place. So whenever you get into this map from Outlaw Camp, you will spawn in a random place that is confined to this area here. So you can be spawning anywhere here. And crucially, when you are on this map and you log out, you will be teleported back to Outlaw Camp. So you cannot stay on this map. And I just saw that the question came up if we fixed the performance issue on Hidden. So actually, there was a lot of, and a special thanks here goes to SR as well, who did a lot of digging into it. Yes, we were actually managed to fix a lot of the performance issue with Hidden. Partially because, yes, we made it a little bit smaller, but there's also a lot of other changes that we were able to make that increases the performance. And at least in our initial tests, under, I want to say, good conditions, we managed to get 120 FPS. So yes, we are very much aware of the performance issues, and we've tackled them. And we are also looking to backport some of these performance enhancements into the original hidden map. So, raid style, PvP, PvE content. The PvP, I imagine, is quite obvious, right? So we look here, everything is a war zone. You can fight wherever you want, whenever you want. Fairly obvious, I would say. So as we progress inwards, you can see one of these towers. Now, I know, some of you very old players out there will perhaps recognize this tower. But I won't say anything. You may or may not recognize it. So what do these towers do? Anyone that walks into the effect area of effect will receive a buff, as you can see here. Never mind the to-do, please. Like I said, this is still in development. So you'll receive buffs these last 5 minutes, and will just make, hopefully, the chaos be a little bit more chaotic. Another thing some of you may recognize are these cannons. Again, the old players among you will recognize these cannons. And as we progress inwards... there you go, someone said it. HOW cannons, yes. The towers as well, by the way. The buff towers. These buff towers, by the way, they're scattered all around the map. So you'll see them in multiple places. Now, we've talked about the PvP aspect. What's the PvE aspect? Well, in total, and you won't see them today, unfortunately, but in total, there will be 3 bosses on this map. And as I alluded in the beginning, this is going to be raid-style content. So the bosses will be extremely difficult to kill. And when I say difficult, I mean it. We're currently balancing, well, we're still in the balancing phase, but we're looking at potentially needing anywhere from 10 to 15 players to be able to kill a boss. The bonus or the upside of it, of course, being that you will get a fairly good amount of loot, let's put it that way. So that's the PvE aspect. However, these bosses will spawn, and like I said, at any given time, there can be a maximum of 3 bosses on this map. Once you have killed a boss, then another boss will spawn. I know this sounds fairly obvious, but bear with me. A new boss will spawn. So what we've done is that we have rotating bosses, and on all of these 3 spots, different bosses can spawn. Now, to take it away in the beginning, so once we release 2.6, there will be a total of 4 bosses. This means 2 spots will always have the same boss, and the 3rd spot will have 2 bosses. Like I said, I won't be showing them today with the exception of 1. And this has also come up just now, and that's something I want to address. So when I say difficult bosses, I know that a lot of people will be thinking, you know, back to, let's say, maybe Realms of Ruins, where some of these bosses were really tedious to kill, because they had a lot of defense, because they had a lot of HP. And obviously, there's only so many things you can do in terms of balancing, but the goal is that, yes, they will have a lot of defense, they will have a lot of HP, but not that much defense. Where the difficulty lies is in their damage output. And so what this effectively means, and I'm gonna spoil this a little bit, is that you will more than likely need 2 tanks, so 2 Guardian Swordsmen. I would almost say that's the bare minimum. And then on top of that, you will need a few healers, so people really just dedicated to healing, and then a few DPS. So this is maybe more akin to what you know from, I want to say, more standard raid style content, right? But yes, again, we're still in a balancing phase and everything, but the bosses, they will hurt. They will really hurt. Now you combine that with the PvP. No, I spoiled it. Dang it. You will you will combine that with the PvP aspect, and you can see how the tension starts to grow a little bit. Anyways, you've already seen it, so may as well. This is Valith, the daughter of Cerberus. This is one of the bosses moonwalking, I guess, because why not? Yeah, very adorable, very cute. Comes with some nasty abilities as well. Right, so we talked. I know a lot of you will be asking, what is the loot like? I'm not going to go too much into detail, but I am going to mention 3 items that you can get as a reward from the bosses. So the first one is a new type of token. This token can be used to purchase items. I'm not going to go into detail what kind of items, but suffice to say they're going to be rather good items. But yeah, so the first thing you'll get is tokens that you can then trade on Outlaw Camp for certain items. The other thing is, and this is more specifically towards what you can get from Valith, is a loot pet. Oh, isn't that adorable? So this loot pet you can get by killing Valith. It's not a guaranteed drop, but you have the chance to get it. And then the other thing you can get, and that's my personal favorite, it's my highlight, is you can get a Valith mount, which, this is so cool. I love it. Are the loot pets tradable? Yes, they are tradable. Both the mount and the loot pet are tradable as of right now. Remember, we're still in development, subject to change, but as of right now, yes, they will be tradable. There you go. Let's go explore the map a little bit more, shall we? So, as for the spawns, so we will have one boss spawn right over here. This is going to be one spawn point. We will have another spawn point right over here. And then, I'm going to head a little bit back. The third spawn point will be all the way at the back. Yeah, you can see here, like, there's another tower here. They're scattered all around the place. So I go back here. I've also made a lot of changes back here. And then the third boss will spawn right over here. And that's pretty much the meat and potatoes of this update, really. So again, this is going to be raid-style PvP, PvE content, where you'll be able to, well, fight to your heart's content. Another thing worth mentioning, because this question also just came up, if the bosses will spawn randomly. So they will spawn in a certain order. However, the times, so the cooldowns at which they spawn, they may vary. Like I said, we're still in development. I know, I'm sorry, I'm repeating myself, but they will roughly spawn every 4 to 6 hours, each of the boss, individually as well. So just keep that in mind. Also, good question that came up. Will this war zone persist on server 3? So, crucially, this map, Black Tide Cove, will only be available on server 1 or channel 1. We can and potentially will in the future enable it on other channels as well, potentially permanently, maybe as an event, but first and foremost, on release, this will only be available on server 1. Another question that came up is if the party size will be increased. No, the party size will not be increased. I know that this is a bit Difficult, but the problem is there are a lot of changes that will go into making or increasing the party size. So unfortunately, that's not something we can tackle just yet, but we definitely have it on our list of things to look into. So I also read level questions. So yeah, obviously, you can enter this area like any other area with any level, but this is really just geared towards end game. So level 120 players, end game raid style content. So it's going to be really difficult. You will definitely need a party. You will definitely need probably a guild, I want to say. But yeah, it's end game. And I also just received a question. Will you be able to hurt your own guild members? So yes, like I said, we are looking into increasing party size, but we're not quite. Well, this is not quite within the scope of this update, which also unfortunately means that guild members that are not in the party can be hit and damaged. Again, we know this is not ideal. We are looking into it, but as of right now, this is unfortunately where we're at. Will there be other bosses? So like I said, the bosses keep rotating. On release, once again, we will have 4 bosses. 2 spots will have the same boss spawn all the time. And then the 3rd spot will have alternating, we'll have 2 bosses alternating between each other. There's also some questions about loot, loot distribution in party. That's also something we're looking into. We are trying to do some changes with the loot distribution system. However, right now, once again, unfortunately, we're not quite there yet. But this is part of the reason why we went with the approach with the tokens. Well, actually, it was someone from the QA who had this idea, and they brought forward quite a lot of good reasons, and one of them being that the tokens can more easily be distributed among guild and party members. Right, just looking at all your questions. I still see a few questions coming up about party. Again, we are investigating what we can do about party size, party systems, you know, potentially allied parties or something like that. But as of right now, nothing in that regard coming just yet for 2.6. And mind you, there's also a lot of other changes we're doing for 2.6, some of which we're not quite discussing today. Okay, so the question I see coming up a lot is, when is the release? So, as you know, our policy is kind of, we don't tell you the date until we're 100% sure that we can release it. But as of right now, the estimated or the targeted release date is going to be end of July, very, very early August. So roughly anywhere between 2 to 4 weeks is when we'll release 2.6. There's another question if there's going to be quote-unquote little monsters. The bosses will have ads, but in terms of regular monsters, no. We will only have the bosses be spawned and their ads on this map. Now, part of this reason is as well, again, we are quite aware of performance. We hope, right, that there's going to be a lot of players on this map, so you'll be fighting. There's going to be lots of effects, lots of different dresses, characters, armors, weapons, everything. And so we're quite wary of performance. This is why, partially of the reason why we decided to not have any monsters. But also because, again, this is meant as a raid-style content, so you'll be fighting mostly bosses. And once again, I guarantee you they're going to be difficult enough. So, what other questions? I'm going to have a bit of a more look around the map a little bit more. Go back here. Once again, you can see, maybe if you look up a little bit, you can spot there's some watchtowers as well. Some lava flowing. Is this here in the middle as well? Go through this, actually. There's lots of barriers. Bailiff over there. Yeah. Any more questions? Otherwise, start to wrap up slowly. All right. Well, be sure if you have any questions to put them in the Discord server, in the chat. I'll be there a little bit, and some of the other team members as well, of course. And with that, well, I hope you enjoyed the first look at 2.6. You're as excited as we are for the release. And thank you very much, everyone, for being here. Have a lovely afternoon. I'll catch you guys in the chat. Bye-bye.